check it out. Check it out. We're back with another video, and this is Deontay the God. Now, I have been thinking seriously since y'all did not even want to allow me to make another video. I have to, because your boy is too good for all that. I'm sick and tired of y'all, but I have to. I'm trying to get 12 views. Y'all got half of that. So, this video is going to be half of what a normal video is for me. So, fuck y'all, and let's get directly within this video. You like the way to feed that buddy? Alright. Now we've into a 1 minute margin. Alright. Kabuto read the label as it said Madara Uchiha. As then, he quickly began to examine the bottle, and just as he thought, there were Hashirama and Madara cells, and a massive amount of chakra was within the bottle. So Kabuto began to experiment with it. He began to pump chakra into the bottle, as then the bottle began to expand, as then a figure appeared. With the enhancing of Naruto's chakra, it looked completely like the actual Madara. Yes, for once we're getting the actual Madara. That's better. For once we are getting the actual Madara level. We actually getting looking like the actual Madara, because of Naruto's chakra soaring throughout him. Madara then looked upon the weakling. "Who are you?" Madara said towards Kabuto, as Kabuto's eyes then opened widely. Madara Uchiha stood in front of him. He sensed the strange foreign energy, but he then thought. He then went back to the center of his base, as he then read upon the scroll that he had stolen from the rubble and ashes of Uzugakure. This explaining how to sense a soul, since we know from the get-go that the Uzumaki clan are a very spiritual clan, seeing as they literally created the Reaper Death Seal. I mean, the first person to try that probably died. But how do you know how to use it, the Reaper Death Seal, if you don't practice? Like, because you can't practice at all. You're just gonna get your soul ripped out of you. How are you going to practice? Anyway, we see Naruto. We see Kabuto with a smirk on his face. As it says, as then Kabuto, after learning how to sense the energy of a soul, he then looked towards Madara, as he felt it. He felt Madara's actual soul, which meant that this was the real Madara. "So, it's really you, Madara Uchiha." "Yes, it is." "Do you have any training grounds here, weak human?" Madara said, as he knew that he fared not even the slightest chance against Naruto. But if he got his training up, maybe he could possibly defeat Naruto within hand-to-hand battle. If he sealed away all of Naruto's chakra, all of it, every single thing, and use massively powerful gravity seals. Yeah. Imagine. Now, we go back to Naruto Uzumaki, who floated downwards. As he was only 13 in the wild, and for plot convenience, I'm gonna say that the Akatsuki was not wiped out by then. And the Akatsuki knew of Madara's presence since Obito's trainee, but since the reason why the Akatsuki is not going to the newly formed Akatsuki is not going to that ass attack Naruto because Obito died. And they have to train. So they're going to train for around 3 years. So let's get the right way to this. Naruto smirked as he found it to be time. As then he finally fixed himself. Jubi, were my calculations correct? He said, as he was listening to the Jubi. They are, the Jubi said, as then Naruto smirked wildly. If this worked, then he wouldn't be human anymore. And he had noticed a while back that his chakra limits were his actual chakra pool was far bigger than his current one. He just simply couldn't use it because of the fact that, well, if your chakra system was restrained by a human form, so he knew that he could possibly get almost 80 times stronger if he died and became a spirit. As Naruto then smirked. Ryu, Teiju, call for the sages, he said. As then within Naruto's office. By the way, he was talking to them within his office as they had completed their deed. They were going to get rid of Madara on a later date. But they didn't have the time for a turn. Naruto had to prepare for his training, as that's what he was planning on doing for the next 3 years. Training. Also, his effort of ascending from human to God had been working so far. So he knew that only a small push was required for himself to go full power. Near Naruto's office, the four sages walked into the office as they then looked towards the ground to see their leader bleeding out. As then they yelled out, screaming. As then Naruto appeared before them, saying to shut up. This is perfectly fine, he said. As then Naruto shot chakra into his human body, picking out the things that made him human. As then he ejected those things from his body, as then he used his other hand to pull the things that made him a god. Then he shot the things that made him human back into his body. Using his unnaturally high chakra levels, he then used his chakra to create a physical form, which was literally going to make him God. But once he tried to enter his physical form, it ejected him. I will instantly. Damn. Naruto said, as he then scanned the body, noticing that all the power had to settle. He estimated at the slow rate that his body is taking to settle, it'll take him around 3 years to regain his full form. He then looked towards the sages. Dispose of the body. As the one bleeding out, they then spat flames out towards it as it burned it, incinerated it. Not even to ashes. Pure annihilation. No more. With it completely being gone, the Shinigami look towards their spiritual leader. What are we supposed to do? For now, I'll extract physical chakra from my body and use my spiritual chakra to create a shadow clone. As he did, as he said, creating a shadow clone is then he came into the body. He noticed that the shadow clone, although it was still stronger than his more human body, since this chakra is technically, this clone is technically a clone of a god, it still wasn't, it was as durable as an average Chunin's body. As that means that it would take around 3,000 hits from an average Jonin to kill him. And he also had to constantly pump chakra around himself to fix the shadow clone and stop it from popping, shall I say. And then his smirk, then he felt for his hands as he balled them up, as he noticed compromises within his chakra, noticing that if certain points within the body were hit on his clone body, then it would be destroyed easily by that of even a guinea, which made him even more careful. Everyone, while my body's in incubation, I want to test something out. As then, he used the transformation jutsu and powered up the seals on his body to the maximum level, 1 billion. and for the gravity seals on Trillion. Then he walked at the speed of an average Jonin. Good enough for me. As he then set off to join the Akatsuki. And around 3 weeks later, arriving at the Rain Village. It was in reconstruction by the former Akatsuki. As well, by the way, key factors such as Zetsu, Itachi, and Keisame, and pretty much that's all. They are currently still alive, as we're gonna call him Obito, or Toby's replacement. Obito had used a powerful jutsu to reestablish their souls, which their souls being flooded with physical energy that's from the outside world. It created them a new body, basically making them Shabusho. But only the jutsu was absolutely required to make all that physical energy flow into their bodies, into their souls, making a physical form. By the way, that's the only reason why they can't possibly hope to even reestablish themselves. Itachi noticed a figure lingering, walking towards the Rain Village, as he quickly began to head towards them. Around 3 minutes later, Itachi met them halfway. Who are you? My name is Dogeto, he said, as then he grabbed the scythe from off of his back, as he then twiddled it across his fingers like a god. Well, really quick. And then he spun it around mid-air. He was spinning it close to his body, but yet it didn't even cut him. As he spun it on his top of his fingers, then he stopped it. Who are you? As then he made it seem as if he noticed the Mangekyo Sharingan within his eyes. Yes, because of the fact that he was given a new body, his Mangekyo seems newer, and he was also given Mangekyo from his father, as he now has the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. As then Itachi said, wait. No, as then Dogeto said, wait, I know you. You're Itachi of the Sharingan. You wiped out your whole entire clan. He said while looking towards Itachi. I gotta admit, I'm a big fan. People don't usually do what I do and survive. Let me fully state my name. Dogeto Hasama. As then Itachi's eyes then opened widely, As then we see a second earlier. Dogeto's eyes turned into Renegon, placing Itachi under Ungenjutsu, pouring in information about his supposed clan. The Almighty Clan, known for rivaling the Uchihas in strength, without having a dojutsu, in the special KK Genkai blood release. As then, Itachi noticed something. He noticed something about him. His movement, his body, or his muscles made it seem as if he was getting ready for an attack. As then Itachi quickly pulled out a kunai as Dogeto swung down his sight. As then it came, like it flowed into his hand. As then he went from the side with his scythe. As then Itachi quickly blocked from there. As then Dogeto switched while slinging his hand. As then his scythe disappeared into his hand, reappearing in his other hand. Damn it, this guy's good. This Genkai. As then Dogeto jumped back as he ran through hand signs. Blood style. Blood tempest. As then blood began to pour from the sky. As then the blood from the sky began to spin around violently, creating a tempest. As then Dogeto yelled out while going through 3 hand signs. Lightning style. Lightning bath. As then multiple lightning bolts flew down towards the ground as they were attracted to the liquid nature of blood, as they then flowed into them, ripping Itachi's body, giving Itachi scars everywhere. And then Itachi yelled out, Amaterasu! As the Amaterasu flames were used to basically put out the flames, to evaporate the blood. As then Itachi looked towards Naruto. As he was surprised, he was able to hurt him. And from his point of view, it looked like he wasn't going all out. Sharingan Massacre! Itachi yelled out as he threw out multiple kunai. As then, he ran through hand signs. As the kunai then turned into his Mangekyo, as he had a point of view from everywhere. As then he appeared, grabbing onto one of the Mangekyo, throwing it down. As then, again, Jutsu befalled Dogeto, as Dogeto stood in place. As then, Itachi flipped around, kicking Dogeto in the throat, sending him towards the sky. As then, Dogeto was pushed out of the genjutsu by his sheer chakra release. Blood style, as he went through multiple hand signs. As then, his eye, his whole entire eye became completely blood red as blood began to leak out of it. Bloody massacre. As then his eye, as a vortex, what? No. Like, imagine Itachi Mangekyo spinning around, and then it shot out of Itachi's, out of Dogeto's eye, as it flew down towards Itachi. As Itachi felt every sense in his body screaming, "Run away!" As then, with his advanced chakra vision, with his Mangekyo, he saw the concentration of chakra within his one jutsu. As then he jumped back with as much force as possible, flying back complete. As then, once it hit the ground, it enlarged times 10 in size. As then, it ripped through molecules in the trees and surrounding area, completely ripping through everything, leaving that whole entire forest area in a mess. As then in the middle of the tempest, like storm, well, in the middle of the massive jutsu, it then cleared out to see Naruto doing this. Dogeto doing this. Dushi Kunmaikin. As then his arm began to explode. As blood began to pour, well, not really explode, began to seep out of every part of his arm, wrapping around him. This is my clan special jutsu, passed down from generation to generation. As then, his smirk never left, as he then disappeared. As he lifted up his leg, going in to score a massive kick to the balls, sending Itachi flying upwards. As the blood armor began to wrap around him more and more, until blood completely surrounded him. His face began to morph as more melanin and less melanin was added towards the blood, changing the colorations to different colors. And then Itachi looked down from the sky, holding on to his balls, as he saw the devil staring up at him. As Itachi then pumped chakra towards his balls, completely healing it. As he then ran through jutsu, as he then threw down Akuna, as then he yelled out, "Fire style! No, Katon! Rising Tempest!" As the flames flew towards the ground. As then the flames flew towards the ground. As then they flew under the double. As then heat began to surround him. As it then flew around in a circle. Similar to that of a tempest. As then Itachi yelled out, while summoning a gigantic bow charged with lightning and Amaterasu. As then he pulled back, as then shot down. As then the Susanoo bow then disappeared, as it then slammed into the middle of the tempest, sending shockwaves throughout the village, sending shockwaves throughout the area. We see Kisame running through the forest trying to locate Itachi, as he felt this massive power, as he then looked on to see the sight. Itachi's using the Katon Tempest and his Amaterasu arrow. This must be a powerful foe, he yelled out as he pulled off Samehara, as he ran towards the area. As he finally came in view of the area, as he saw Naruto, as he saw the devil casually brush off, well, more like dust, casually, well, not really casual, but just dust off his body, as the dust had protruded from his blood. And then he yelled out, "Blood cannon!" As then the blood began to, as he then pointed his two fingers like this in a gun position towards Itachi. And then a blood stream shot out of it at top speeds, as Itachi looked on at the blood cannon. "Shit," he yelled out, as then he quickly moved mid-air by waving through hand signs. He yelled out, "Wind blast!" As he then, yelled out, "Wind propulsion!" As he turned a little bit mid-air, and then he blasted it out of his mouth, pushing him out of the range of Naruto's blood cannon. Dogeto's blood cannon. As then Itachi, finally using aerodynamics and his own power to direct himself towards the ground, as he had finally reached the ground. Itachi looked on to see that he had help. As then, the blood on Naruto's face, which I had covered it, like, the Deadpool, like, it was a really bad Deadpool movie. To the point where Ryan Richards did not even want to play Deadpool. He didn't even do it. So yeah, he had no mouth. And then the blood began to open up, creating a venom-like mouth. As then it peeled back to reveal skin. As it then peeled all the way back, and then flew towards the arms. It was absorbed by the arms. So the same thing happened to the feet all the way up. As then Itachi looked on in surprise. His body had sustained 0 damage, as his scythe laid on his back. Itachi Uchiha. It's a good test. And then he cracked his neck. I was going to join this Akatsuki quiz and see what's up with. Since my brother was murdered by someone who goes by the name Shinigami Shinigami of Rage. He murdered my brother and sister before I could even do so. He's the reason why I killed my clan, he said as he began to grit his teeth as he then looked on at Itachi. But with the Akatsuki, I can get so strong I'll be able to beat him in my sleep, he said. As he then held out his hand, saying, "What do you say, partner?" We then see Kisame getting pissed off. His boyfriend, Kisame had been feeling some type of way about Itachi for a while now, and for some reason he felt jealous, not knowing that of his own sexuality. Gay. As then Samehada began to consume his rage, turning Samehada into a into black. As then Kisame began to run towards Dogeto. As he then slammed down Samehada onto Dogeto. As then quickly Dogeto's scythe began to a scythe appeared summoned from blood as he stopped Samehada from bowling down on. "Hey man, what's up with you?" he said as he felt his blood scythe getting weaker. As then Delgado jumped back as he yelled out, "You're attacking me for no reason." As then blood began to consume his body, starting from his arm, down and uppers as well. As Satan appeared before him, as he then disappeared, as he appeared right in front of Samehada, in front of Kisame, pulling back his arm and releasing full power. Not really full power, but once he punched Kisame in the stomach, Kisame shot towards the ground, barreling down like a sack of potatoes. As then Itachi's eyes widened. With that type of power, he could have faggot ass nigga. He could have easily defeated him within their battle. As he wondered why he didn't defeat him, as he looked on in shock. As then Naruto lifted up his hand. And then all of his blood began to absorb into his hand. That's easy. Dogeto said. As then Itachi asked him, "Hey, how come you didn't go all out against me?" You see, I knew that if I just directly knocked you out, the Akatsuki would think of me as an enemy. So, I did what I was planning to do before I was interrupted. I was planning on you getting me a good rep with your leader so I can join the Akatsuki and become the ultimate shinobi, wiping out nations. because I want to. Honestly, the last time I wiped out a nation was when the last time I wiped out a nation was when this happened. As then blood as black as night began to flow over his arm. As then, well, blood as black as the color black, not as night, because night it has a little bit of light in it, but this blood was literally really extremely black. The only light that was coming doing it justice was a light. So yeah, the light shining, which was the only reason why you didn't see it in Naruto's background. If it had been nighttime, it would have been easily disappeared into the shadows. As then, Delgado said, I discovered the true power of my clan's Kiki Genkai while fighting my brother. As then, a tear fell out of, while fighting my cousin. As Naruto Uzumaki within the story, it was a part of his story that Naruto had basically killed his family, his intermediate family, not his secondary family, like his cousins and other people. His intermediate family, the family that was born, came from either his father or his mother. Now, Naruto said, Delgado said while looking towards Itachi, as a tear flew out of his eye, he then wiped it away. As then, he began to consume as the blood began to feed into his arm. I'll never forgive myself, Delgado said. As he then looked over towards Itachi and said, let's go. I'll carry this fat lump of stupid, he said. As then, Delgado walked towards the currently in development Rain Village. And that's the end of this video. Who is this new person? Which, by the way, is not Naruto. Okay, it is. Who was the person spying on Naruto and Itachi and Kisame? Find out on the next episode of What If Naruto Was Neglected by His Friends and Family